The Naguals, or the shape-shifting creatures of the Mayan. The Naguals, or the shape-shifting creatures of the Mayan. In Mesoamerican folk religion, a Nagual is a human being who has the power to transform either spiritually or physically into an animal form, most commonly jaguar and puma, but also other animals such as donkeys, birds, dogs, or coyotes. Such a Nagual is believed to use their powers for good or evil according to their personality. Specific beliefs vary, but the general concept of Nagualism is pan-Mesoamerican. Nagualism is linked with pre-Columbian shamanistic practices through pre-classic Olmec depictions which are interpreted as human beings transforming themselves into animals. The system is linked with the Mesoamerican calendrical system, used for divination rituals. The birth date often determines if a person will be a Nagual. Mesoamerican belief in tonalism, wherein every person has an animal counterpart to which his life force is linked, is also part of the definition of Nagualism. In English the word is often translated as transforming witch, but translations without the negative connotations of the word witch would be transforming trickster or shapeshifter. A pre-Columbian Chitino stela possibly depicting a Nagual transforming into a jaguar. His name is inscribed in Zapotec glyphs on his abdomen and translates to 5 alligator. The word Nagual derives from the Nahuatl word Nahuli Nahuali, an indigenous religious practitioner, identified by the Spanish as a magician. The Nagual is acquired along with the other characteristics of a person's birthday at birth. Each day is associated with an animal which has strong and weak aspects. A person born on the dog day would have both strong and weak dog aspects. In Nahuatl the word tonali was used to refer both to a day and to the animal associated with that day. The Nagual is different, where the tonal is the day spirit proper, the Nagual is the spirit familiar of the day. It is probable that the tonal represents the daytime aspect and the Nagual the nighttime aspect of the tonali, the things of the day. Because practitioners of powerful magic were normally born on certain days related to animals with a strong or harmful aspect, they would often have specific tonals such as the jaguar or puma. In Aztec mythology the god Tezcatlipoca was the protector of Nagualism, because his tonal was the jaguar and he governed the distribution of wealth. In modern rural Mexico, Nagual is sometimes synonymous with brujo, wizard, one who is able to shape-shift into an animal at night, normally into a dog, owl, bat, or turkey, drink blood from human victims, steal property, cause disease, and the like. In some indigenous communities the position of Nagual is integrated into the religious hierarchy. The community knows who is a Nagual, tolerating, fearing and respecting them. Naguali are hired to remove curses cast by other Naguali. In other communities the accusation of Nagualism may result in violent attacks by the community towards the accused. The Western study of Nagualism was initiated by archaeologist, linguist, and ethnologist Daniel Garrison Brinton, who published Nagualism, a study in Native American folklore and history, which chronicled historical interpretations of the word and those who practiced Nagualism in Mexico in 1894. He identified various beliefs associated with Nagualism in some modern Mexican communities such as the Miz, the Nahua, the Zapotec, and the Mixtec. Subsequently, many studies have described Nagualism in different Mesoamerican cultures such as the Zoques and the Jocaltec, Kayak, Cuiqui, and Tziltil Maya. Among the Hucaltec, Naguals reinforce indigenism by punishing those who collaborate with non-Mayas. In 1955, Gustavo Correa suggested Nagualism is not pre-Columbian, arguing that it was wholly imported from Europe, where he compared it to the medieval belief in werewolves. However, shape-shifting folklore is far from limited to Europe, nor is it limited to the Middle Ages. For example, some of Earth's oldest literature, the Bronze Age Eastern Semitic epic of Gilgamesh, and East Asia's Hulijing, origin of this folklore is of unknown date, but 18th century at the latest, see main article, contain shape-shifters. The werewolf, lycanthropy, is also far from the only, or the earliest, form of folkloric theory shape-shifting from human to animal, or vice versa. A solid consensus of authors and curators today interpret pre-Columbian art as expressing a belief in therianthropic shape-shifting, often citing hallucinogenic drugs as the root of the Mesoamerican and desert Southwest shape-shifter folktales. Kaplan concludes that, in Oaxaca, the belief in naguals as evil shape-shifting witches is common in both indigenous and mestizo populations. According to Kaplan, the belief in animal spirit companions is exclusively indigenous. These is certain for some groups and communities, but for others, as the Mixes, Chinantecos, Triquis or Tacuates, those who can control their nagual or alter ego are also protectors of the people and the natural resources and culture of the community, and highly revered but also feared. However, some folktales say this creature was almost virus-like, and could move from host to host. And after a long battle, it was contained in a maze of boxes. We at first thought this was a rumor. In recent news, archaeologists have discovered what may be the original structure built at the Pyramid of Kukulkan at the Mayan ruins of Chichen Itza. Last year, archaeologists using electrical imagining techniques found that the pyramid, which is also known as El Castillo, was built atop a subterranean river, or a cenote. Archaeologists have long known that a smaller pyramid is encapsulated underneath the visible temple. Researchers said Wednesday that they had detected an even smaller structure inside the other two structures. Using what is called tridimensional electric resistivity tomography, or ERT-3D, they found a 10-meter, yard, tall structure within the 20-meter, yard, tall intermediate pyramid that was covered over by the last construction stage, perhaps around 900 AD. Archaeologist Denise Lorania Argote said if we can research this structure in the future it could be important, because it could tell us about the first period inhabitants of the site. Argote, of Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, said the first structure may be in the pure Maya style from between 500 and 800 AD. University of California, San Diego anthropology professor Jeffrey Braswell, who was not involved in the latest project but who has conducted research at Chichen Itza, said the discovery may be new, or may be a structure detected in the 1940s. Braswell said that while digging into the intermediate layer pyramid in the 1940s, one archaeologist found a third platform buried within it. The tunnel was unstable, so we know very little about this platform, Braswell wrote. It appears to be much smaller than the outer two pyramids, and is not perfectly aligned within them. The computer image distributed by the researchers also showed an underlying structure not quite aligned with the subsequent layers. Braswell compared the Kukulkan pyramid to a Russian nesting doll, with each layer encapsulating another. But at the bottom, there may be more than one platform encapsulated. To make matters more complicated, Braswell wrote, the third Russian doll moving in may actually be one of a set of several small dolls rattling around inside the same shell. We just do not know. René Chavez, a researcher at the National Autonomous University's Institute of Geophysics, said the early structure appeared to have a staircase and perhaps an altar at the top that may have just been filled in and preserved. The structure has been mapped, but it is not clear whether it will be excavated. Given that no one has excavated this structure, it is difficult to say with certitude if it is one of the oldest buildings at the site, Braswell said. But this is quite possible. Could this creature, once again be freed from its prison, to haunt humanity? Stay paranoid, my friends.